Hello there, Trevor here from Double Bill Movies. Okay, well, Halloween's over, so that means no more horror films for the rest of the year. Well, that's a bit of a lie, isn't it? You can watch horror films whenever. And of course, there's a nice big Christmas one that's just come out. So when I get my lovely box set of the Terrifier films in December, then hopefully I can watch it for Christmas. Anyway, so this is the last roundup of what I watched for the rest of 31 Days of Halloween. A couple of films I didn't get to watch, which is, you know, whatever. But so starting this list off is another 88 film release, and it is another one of the Tigon films. Actually, I quite liked it. I thought it was a pretty good film. Little bit sort of let down at the end, but you got to remember where and when this was made, and sort of the budget and everything. And essentially the man has just been in a hole for many years and still looks like a man, but just with really long nails and this and the other. But it is Beast in the Cellar. I thought the suspense on this was pretty good. The timing is a little bit slow, but again, it's part of its charm of its age. And all that kind of thing, and it all comes together at the end and it all makes sense. And I thought it was a nice production. Actually, the picture was really nice. These Tigon films, maybe because they didn't get much of an outing, have been well kept, so doesn't need a 4K or anything. But there we go. So the Beast in the Cellar. Now hopefully you saw my review on this. I received it on the Wednesday. I was able to watch two films on a Wednesday night because my wife goes out, and thankfully this turned up, and I was really pleased it turned up because I really enjoyed it. If you didn't get that from the review, but it was Trick or Treat. So this is the Arrow Store exclusive collector's edition, and if you want to see what it looks like and my full review thoughts, then go and check that out in my playlist on what that might call them, Big Screen Reviews. Then to a nice old black and white monster movie from the 50s. And now there's a brilliant channel by a brilliant guy called Bryn, and it's Horror Hands, and he talks a lot about these kind of films because he loves monster movies. And having seen him talk about one of the spider ones, I just kind of had in my head that this might be a little bit kooky in that sense. So I was getting ready for a slightly you know, sort of fairly poor quality, just 50s horror film. But what I got was a really sophisticated and full-size models of the creatures, and that is them, the ants. I was very impressed with this film. The story is superb. The execution of the film is just brilliant, and they think of everything, you know, very sophisticated. What a great film. It was a lot of fun. There was a bit where the picture goes really sort of blurry, but when you realise that they're actually in underground sewage tunnels, there'll be a lot of moisture in the air, so I'm guessing the film and the cameras didn't like having all that moisture in the air, and it made it cloudy. But what can you do? Hey, it kind of adds to the effect and the mystery of it, and it kind of puts you in there as well. So brilliant film. Really enjoyed this, and this is #1 on the HMV Premium collection. If I get that to focus. So yes, right, now this is one that I actually tried to watch before. I tried to watch it on 4K, but my disc crashed, so I managed to dig out my Blu-ray and finally watch the rest of Carrie, the remake. I am really impressed with this film. I don't think it's as good as the original, but the fact that they can do what they can with special effects these days, they can really sort of ramp up what she's able to do. So they use it a lot more in the film. There's a lot more interaction with her mother, and that really helps fuel the story, and her just the way she is as a kid at school and everything like that. Yeah, of course you see enough in the original, but I think this one just takes it that bit further, and just gives you a much fuller picture of what's going on. And I guess they make it more nasty as well. It's much more nasty, much more in tone with the era that this was filmed in, and you know how cruel kids can be. And but hey, she's got a power that they don't, so things happen. Great film. Actually, you know what? I actually thought this Blu-ray looked better than the 4K. The 4K I felt was a little bit too washed out. Now, bearing in mind this was made, I imagine it was only a 2K film in the first place. So actually, Blu-ray is kind of the optimal format for it. But if I do manage to get another disc, I'm not going to get one from Shout Factory. They ain't going to send me another disc because they're a pretty useless company, to be honest. But you know, I'll have to get hold of another 4K cheap somehow, and try and wash it that way. But I think aesthetically this looked better. So if you're wondering about upgrading, don't bother. Okay, so kind of went shopping at the weekend, and I said to my wife, there's 2 titles I want, and if HMV's got them, then I will pick them up. And one of them was The Crow with a slipcover, which I managed to get, and the other one was Friday the 13th Part 2 with a slip. Actually spent a little bit more and bought quite a few more titles than that, but never mind, that's for another story. Of course, had to follow on from the other 4K of Friday the 13th, the original, and this does it nicely. The picture is beautiful. I've actually got a picture comparison video coming up at some point, done in a slightly different format to what I usually do, so keep an eye out for that if you want to see a comparison between this and the Blu-ray from that box set there, which is an American box set. So yes, Friday the 13th Part 2, stunning 4K, great film too. Now this was a double bill that I was going to watch. So I was going to watch Horror High, seeing as I have a copy of Return to Horror High, and wondered, well, there must be a film called Horror High, and there is, and that's it. And then it's double billed with Stanley. Now this is like a drive-in double bill, so hence both movies are on 2 separate discs. I was too tired to watch Horror High, so I only watched Stanley, and I only watched what I did without falling asleep, because I did fall asleep. I think I went back and kind of watched the end, I don't know. But it's not really a horror film. There's sort of horror elements in it, and word of warning for people who don't like animal cruelty, there are snakes killed for real in this, in a pretty brutal way. 3 different characters, including this guy. That's not Stanley. Stanley's a snake. But yeah, so just word of warning that you do see actual snakes killed for real, in quite an unpleasant way. But I could sort of see what they were doing in this film, and maybe because I was really tired I didn't really quite enjoy it. Maybe if I go back and watch it again without falling asleep, I might enjoy it a little bit more. But yeah, not really a horror film, and like I said, didn't really get around to watching Horror High. Then, to top off, what do you do on 31st of October? Well, you have to watch Halloween, don't you? No, I didn't watch the John Carpenter one. I managed to get a very nice box set from Viavision in Australia, but I got this through Film Treasures, I think. And it is a little set of both films, Halloween and Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie. Now, I actually watched the 2 theatrical versions because I was running out of time by the time I started last night. So I've yet to watch the director's cut of both films. So I watched this disc, which has both films on it, as opposed to the director's cut, which are on 2 separate discs. I'd seen the first one before, and really liked it, and I can see why people don't like the second one very much. It kind of goes off on I was going to say a very different tangent to the original, but you know what? I have not seen Halloween 2 from the 70s, the 80s, so I've got no frame of reference. But I imagine it does something quite different than what it actually does in the original. And again, I was a bit tired. I wasn't quite in the mood. I had something on my mind, which thankfully has just been cleared up, so I'm not worried about it anymore. But I had something on my mind, and I wasn't massively engaged in watching these films. But it was great to see it on Blu-ray and not on streaming on my big screen, and watch them back to back as well. So you know, 3.5 hours of Michael Myers. Hey, you can't go wrong there, can you? But so that was what I finished off 31 Days of Halloween with. Now I had planned to watch that. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Who knows? But didn't get around to it. So that was on my list. Anyway, so I'm going to just quickly run through what I did all in one go. So I started with All Hallows Eve, which will be coming in the lovely box set that I've ordered from Umbrella. Then I watched one of these films from this Paul Naschy collection, and it was what was it? Dragonfly for Every Corpse. Great name. Not such a great film. You know, it's okay. And yes, I guess it's one of those having a go films, which I like. Then I watched A Blade in the Dark. Not bad. Very nice 4K, I have to say. Pretty typical of these sort of Spanish or Italian films. So this is part of the Italian collection. So yes, it's an Italian film, isn't it? Then with my mate Neil, we watched Cape Fear on his projector, and it looked great. Great film, absolutely brilliant. Probably in some ways better than the remake, even though the remake is fantastic. The remake is fantastic because this exists. If it didn't exist, then it would be just sublime anyway. Then out of this DVD box set that I've got of After Dark Horror Fest films from 2007, I watched a film called Borderland. Not Borderlands, Borderland. Very, very good film. Well worth checking out. And if you can find the box set that this all comes in, then do so. Then a pretty rare Blu-ray. There should be an American release of this because it's an American film. And actually, if there is, I will get that, because this is a very, very poor quality Blu-ray, in the sense that I think they've either, it seems like it's ripped from a DVD, or it was just a poor master that they had in the first place. In which case I do apologise, Germany, that I'm not accusing you of ripping it off, but there's probably a reason why it's not very good Blu-ray. But if the Americans do release it, hopefully they will have the master and be able to get you know, a better quality Blu-ray out of it. But not a bad film, not a bad film. And of course, that was when I tried to watch that, and as you just heard, I watched it later on Blu-ray. Then another film from the DVD box set, and that is Mulberry Street, which is actually Mulberry Street in New York. And yeah, it's a pretty good film. Yet another take on sort of a zombie outbreak, this time from rats. So yeah, pretty good film. I probably said this in the first video, but I can't really remember anything about this. Deadly Games. So yeah, I can't believe it was that great. Otherwise I'd be raving about it, wouldn't I? But anyway, from Arrow, Deadly Games. Now, a film I was really looking forward to. I love this kind of artwork. I love this kind of green and the aesthetics of this artwork from this era. Lots of films have it, and it's really cool. Crazy Eights is a really, really cool film. There is actually a Blu-ray version, so I will be hunting down on that. I think it comes paired with another film, a bit like Unearthed, that I got from Australia, which had another film on it. So, snafu, my neighbour's dog and my window's open, so you have to excuse the barking. yes, anyway, I really enjoyed this film. Great film. So somewhere along the line I watched one of these Amityville films, and these are sort of 4 standalone Amityville just kind of offshoot films, and this was one of them, and it was Doll's House. I think first I actually watched New Generation, both pretty damn good films, I have to say. Then we go to, hold on, had to close the window. Anyway, yes, as I was saying, so then we get to a really cool Canadian film that I watched. This is also on the 88 Slasher Collection, and it is Funeral Home. Really cool looking film, pretty good film in general. I'm really glad I got this, and it's nice that it's not American. I love American films, obviously, but it's nice to have someone else do a really cool film. Okay, so this turned up, as you probably saw from the actual video, and it was the 4K of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, I wasn't going to pass up the opportunity to watch this, even though this whole list are films that I hadn't seen before. Of course, I've seen this one before, but I'm not going to pass it up, am I? So, brilliant 4K. And okay, so this is another 4K. This one comes from Vinegar Syndrome. Not a bad film, but not quite as good as I'd hoped. But again, another one of those having a go films, let's say. Kind of start a new subgenre of horror, couldn't I? Having a go horror. There you go, you heard it here. I coined that one. Flesh Eater. Yes, this scene is in the film, and it's done quite well. I was really intrigued as to how they were going to do this, and they just did it with a jump cut, and that worked really well. So good on them. Another one that wasn't particularly a horror, and wasn't really that great. One I will probably most definitely and will be passing on. Even though it's part of the 88 Italian collection, I don't have all of it, as you can see, but it is Knife of Ice. Quite like the film. Maybe on a rewatch it might be better, but wasn't that impressed with it. Another one of the DVDs from the After Dark box set, and it is Lake Dead. Yes, well, there's some interesting things that go on in this film, and some interesting lines that are said by the actors, and yes, they do go that far. But I'll let you watch this for yourself and experience it like I did for the first time. So yeah, pretty good film though, pretty good film. Then a category 1 video nasty that actually I do recall having seen before, so it's kind of a mistake, but I did it because it will be the next episode after I do. We got Love Camp 7 coming up, Bumper and I, for the 39 series, and once I get that episode out, then he can do this one. And I've already watched this, and I need to give him my notes on it. But Madhouse, pretty cool film. So this is one that I watched with my mate. Again, as I said, I had to check with him that it was okay, because it's not really a horror film, but or horror person, should I say. But once we read the synopsis, and he was okay with it, and we watched Leviathan. Basically, it's Alien but underwater, and he loves the film Alien, so he didn't have any problem watching this one. Great 4K. So another one of the After Dark box set films, Tooth and Nail. This is about a post-apocalyptic sort of world, where basically we've run out of fuel, and people are surviving. I guess, I don't know, they didn't come up with biofuels or whatever like we have now, but anyway, that's beside the point. This was just sort of a scenario that might happen or might have happened had technology not moved on, but yeah, people are kind of turned into cannibals. Vinnie Jones is in this, yes. I was quite surprised to see Vinnie Jones, but also Michael Madsen, he's also in it. So yeah, not a bad film. This one, also from the same DVD box set, not quite as good, but I quite like the concept. Could have been executed a little bit better, but hey, again, these are you know, horror fest. These are film festival films, so they're mostly first feature films. So you can't sort of knock them down too much, because a first effort is a first effort. They're not always going to be amazing. But this was Nightmare Man. So I imagine that the director went on and did some slightly better things, hopefully. I shall have to research, won't I? And then you saw that I watched Skinned Alive. Again, another having a go film. Half the crew that made the film are in it. So there you go. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Not a very good film, really, but you know. And then another one that wasn't particularly a horror film, but not a bad film in general, and that was Body Snatchers. Not Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So then, yes, Beast in the Cellar, The Amazing Trick or Treat, 10 out of 10 film for me. Them, another 10 out of 10 film. Carrie, kind of 9 out of 10. Friday the 13th 4K, 8 out of 10 for that one. Not as good as the original, but still a great film. Stanley, yeah, not really a horror. Probably 6 or 7 out of 10. And of course, Halloween 1 and 2. So, how many films did I watch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Well, there you go. It was 31 Days of Horror. I did have more lined up, which I didn't quite get, but at least I managed what I wanted to do. So there you go. Anyway, again, tell me what you watched for your 31 Days of Halloween. Put your whole list in the comment section if you like. It would be nice for me to read. And anyway, are you already planning next year's 31 Days of Halloween? What's your theme going to be? So, right, let's end this video. Give us a thumbs up and take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.